Yes, it is a movie, Tracy. It's called Cool Runnings. Who hasn't seen that movie? John Candy, classic. Oh, I just love that man. I just want to like hug him and.
Maybe not now.
But you can't.
Well, that's inappropriate. Anyways, it was a really sweet movie. A side note: one of my best friends in India, that was her favorite movie, and I watched it so many times when I visited there. It was just a very strange thing. And because it's talked about Canada too as well. Yeah. But anyways, Jamaica does have another bobsled team in the runnings to go to the Olympics this year. They're not sure if they can afford to go. They say they need like $80,000 to go.
Wow.
I don't know about that. What kind of a party are you planning on having?
Yes, party capital.
But I mean, it's cute, right? Brings some feelings of nostalgia from these movies, and that whole thing about the underdog. Like, isn't that one of the best parts about the Olympics? Is maybe not necessarily those heroes. We talked about another week about the people at the very top, but those ones that come in and have those great stories that, oh, I didn't think that you would actually be able to pull that off, but you did, yay!
Well, that's the thing, is if they win, it's going to be astronomically cool, right? That's the whole point.
I mean, they're not going to win.
Well, not with that attitude.
Oh, yeah.
If I was training them, they would.
They have so much online support, though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think I don't know how much they've fundraised already, but they're doing an online fundraising thing, and like a lot of people want to see them go.
The Dougie Doug fan.
And let's not forget, where Jamaica does funnel a lot of its sports funding is to sprinting. And the sprinting component is such a huge part of bobsled, so never know.
Well, they're running before that, yeah.
Well, and I also, I was watching an interview with one of the captains, and he was saying that there is a traditional kind of like activity or sport in Jamaica that is similar to a bobsled, which is where they kind of got the idea that, hey, maybe they could actually, that's not that different, but it's on wheels, but it is down sort of a hill, and they have to.
That was the kart racing part of Cool Runnings too, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is a similar thing in there. Yeah. It wasn't called kart racing. It was something else.
Probably more technical.
Bobby.
Now I'm not saying that Jamaicans shouldn't be able to compete in a winter sport just because they don't have snow. I mean, I wouldn't be so bold to state something terrible like that. But I mean, let's talk about it. But it does beg the question: are there things that shouldn't be in the Olympics? And just.
You looked at me when you said that.
It's a slow, dramatic because it's showdown time.
Sour Patch eating should not be in there.
No, it should be.
I'd win gold. Yeah, I am not.
Be bold. Let's go. Have it out.
Ice dancing. I don't think it should be an Olympic sport.
Why?
I think it is too subjective to be an Olympic sport. And I am the biggest fan of judged sports. I love figure skating. I love gymnastics, diving, snowboarding. I love watching those, and I think they're great sports. I think ice dancing, though, it came from ballroom dancing.
Mm-hmm. Also not a sport.
Yeah, and but I mean, like with figure skating and diving, you have all these really high level moves and components that you need to do. And the athlete who wins gold, silver, and bronze, they do the most high level moves in their routine or their jump. Yeah, and the person who does them the most flawlessly, who does the most, wins gold. Whereas in ice dancing, you're not allowed to do lifts above the head. You're not allowed to jump. I mean, there are components that you have to complete, but a lot of high-level athletes can complete those easily. So a lot of it is based on artistic merit, and some of ice dancing scoring is even based on how well the dancers connect with the audience. And I'm not saying it doesn't take athleticism and that it's not difficult, because I think for sure it is. But I just think all those components make it impossible to judge an ice dance objectively, and I think it takes it out of the realm of sports. And yeah, that's my opinion. And yeah, I feel like, and I know Blair is a figure skater.
Especially because there are required elements.
There are required elements.
So that's weird.
There are, but they aren't as I just feel, I don't know.
And sometimes simple is harder to do than
That's the whole point. Is
Jumping
one of the
in.
biggest thing about
It's true. They should
things
just have ice walking. That's hard.
about ice
You know?
dancing.
Yeah.
This is way more than an 8-minute segment, but I'm going to let that go because people heard your Sour Patch thing, so your credibility is kind of shot. But I think that if we talk about sports, I think we have to throw in things like biathlon. Right?
That is totally a sport.
Yeah, you're right. But isn't that weird? Let's combine cross-country skiing with shooting a gun. Like, how many alpine snipers are into this?
But,
Like,
that takes, but
cardio,
yeah, no, exactly.
what about
but
skiing in a straight line.
is biathlon not judged on how well you perform and how accurate your shot is? What I'm saying about ice dancing is that your first, second place winners are determined by someone else judging that and their opinion on that.
Whether they not had an emotional connection to them at the time.
And that was a big problem with figure skating in the past. If we recall, there were Canadian athletes that fought that. And that's when the whole judging, everything has changed judgment-wise. That's why there are specific elements that they are graded on individually. I couldn't name them all because there's so many.
Yeah.
But you don't know. Yeah, it's hard to judge in general. But
judge sports like diving, like figure skating, are so hard as opposed to skiing and luge and bobsledding, where it's just a stopwatch. It's the fastest down. So how do you say that sliding down a ice tube, as you call it, a sport?
Well, I remember years ago, Ross Rebliati, not the greatest reference to make, but you know, when they were judging whether or not snowboarding should be, you know, a sport, he's like, oh, not a lot of people snowboard. I don't know if snowboarding should be an Olympic sport. And he was like, really, it's not a commonplace. How many people do you know luge?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of people. I don't got a luge track in my backyard.
Oh, or skeleton.
Right.
I mean,
I don't have a skeleton in my backyard either.
Just in your closet.
Yeah.
Well, even with Montgomery, I mean, like, this is a guy who wasn't a skeleton athlete from the time that he, you know, was a child and dreamed of this and trained it, and you know, something he took on when he was an adult, and then he had a knack for it, and then he wins the Olympics.
Do you remember that one year they did the test sport where it was just fastest down the hill? It wasn't even the luge thing. Do you remember? It was just like I can't even remember what it was called.
Falling.
Essentially, and they had like these space age helmets and special suits, and it literally was just fastest down the hill. It wasn't even a course or anything like
Also, there are a
that.
lot
And
of
I feel like the criteria, just to finish my point, but is really just that if you can't train for it, or if you have to train for it for more than like 10 years, then maybe it's an Olympic sport. But if you can learn it in a year, then it's not.
That's weird. So any natural people with natural skills, that doesn't count. But there are numerous, especially in the Winter Olympics, there are numerous sports that are judged, right? You know, you're talking about half pipe, you're talking about all those kind of things, freestyle, flippity-doo-dah day, skiing, that's all judged by other people. And
But
they
there's an
have
element
required.
of depth there, so I feel like it
You're right.
elevates
People
it
with
to a
knives on their
depth.
feet, there's no danger there at all. Like, I've never seen anyone get stabbed in the face. Oh no, that happened at the Olympics. Weird. No danger there.
Anyways, I think that's a great place to leave it off. We'll
Death, why not?
head into the weekend. You know, why not get outside and enjoy a little bit of skating as well? It is going to warm up.
With the wind chill of -50.
Just because you say
Don't worry about
it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.